light shine bright in the kingdom for others to see. No more ways to be denied, no more reasons not to shine. Free in the kingdom to be me. Free in the world and all will see that the God in me is powerful indeed. And the power to get wealth is working in me. I am called to be a curse breaker, Abraham's seed. Poverty must bow to the anointing and free me indeed. No more ways to be denied, no more reasons not to shine. Free in the kingdom to be me. Free in the world and all will see that the God in me is powerful indeed.
Thanks for joining me on today, and welcome to the Kingdom Wealth Warriors channel, where we equip kingdom-minded believers with spiritual truths to walk in divine authority, wisdom, and wealth. My name is Deb Howard, your abundant life coach. And today, I have just one question for you. Who told you you were ghetto? Because somebody did, and too many of us believed it. But today, we're going to break that agreement. Let's go back, way back, to Genesis 3. After Adam and Eve ate the fruit, God asked them a powerful question. Who told you that you were naked? That was God confronting misplaced identity. And today, He's asking us. He's asking FBAs. Yes, I'm speaking to you, foundational Black Americans. He's asking us, who told you that your joy was offensive? Who told you that your music was noise? Who told you that being Black meant less or being less than? You see, somewhere along the way, we agreed with a voice of shame. We let this colonized culture define what's respectable, what's acceptable, and what's too much. Let's call it what it is, because it's programming. We've all been programmed. We were taught to police our own joy, to shrink in public spaces, to whisper when we want to laugh out loud, to side-eye our own people when they show up full of life. All because we were told, you don't want to be seen as one of them. Act like you've been somewhere. Act like you were raised right. You don't just represent yourself, you represent all of us. Sound familiar? Listen, I want to share something with you that actually kind of upsetted me, if I'm honest, and really was the igniter of me doing this series, What's Wrong with Being Black in America. I saw a video on TikTok recently. It showed a group of Black people dancing on a Carnival cruise ship, having the time of their lives. I'm a cruiser. I started cruising, gosh, I think in 2000, I don't know, 3 or 4. I took my first cruise. And on this video, and if you've ever been on a Carnival cruise, you know that the Lido deck is usually lit. The Lido deck is where the food is. It's where, if you're familiar with Carnival, then you know that Guy's Burger is on that floor. The pool is on that floor, and usually the entertainment. There's usually a lot of music and dancing. So in his caption, it really showed a lot of African Americans, people of color. I'll put it that way, because there was a lot of people. So I'm sure it was other races, but people of color, and they were dancing and having a good time. And the caption said, "This is why Carnival changed the rules on their cruise ship, because Black folks act too ghetto." Now, I had to think about that for a minute because, like I said, I've been going on cruises for many years. And now I've been on cruises, maybe with more minorities, but initially there weren't as many minorities as we see now, or at least on the ships that I was on. Let me put it that way. But what was consistent, especially on this particular cruise line, is that people danced on the Lido deck. Not just black people, all races of people. When I was on the ship and the majority of the ship was of another persuasion, everybody was still dancing on the Lido deck. And in all the years that Carnival has had this tradition, there has always been dancing and foolery on the Lido deck. And I say that in quotations because people are on vacation. And so, yes, they're having fun. They're doing things that maybe they wouldn't do normally. But this particular caption was really just a caption or a video of line dancing. And I thought to myself, why do we see something different when a group of us are doing it? When we see a lot of people of color, specifically foundational Black Americans, it almost feels like there's a slight disgust. Now here's what got me. It wasn't someone white or Hispanic or another race that posted this video with that caption. It was one of us. So why is it that when we gather, when we dance, when we celebrate, it's called ghetto? But when others do it, it's letting loose. It's living their best life or just having fun. Let me be clear. Black joy is not a threat. Black culture is not chaos. And blackness is not ghetto. And I'm saying it just like that, ghetto. At some point, as minorities, as people of color, we've got to also ask ourselves, who told us these things? Just as God asked Adam and Eve, who told you you were naked? We have to ask ourselves, who keeps telling us that there is something not right about us? That our culture is not quite right? That there must be disgust or some kind of disrespect when we are in the picture? Listen, I get it. We can't control what other people think, but we can control what we think. And I don't know that there's anything more hurtful than when someone of color, someone in this culture, in this country, does not see the beauty in who we are. Listen, I want you to really think about this today because we're just at the beginning. Yeah, I'm going to do a whole series on this. But I wanted to really set this foundational, information down. And I wanted you to have an opportunity, if you so choose, to go on TikTok or go even maybe on YouTube and look for some videos about this current controversy that's occurring. It seems that the cruise line did change some of their rules, but not to the extent that some people are saying. Because some of it is clickbait, right? Some of it is, for likes and all of that. I believe some of the people that are posting some of this stuff probably haven't even been on a cruise ship. But let's not get too caught up in the cruise ship. because it's really about looking inside of us and determining and seeing what is it about ourselves that disgusts us. Where is the self-love? When we point the finger at something, as in this situation, as just people dancing, and say, oh my God, that's so ghetto. Oh my God, you can't take us anywhere. Oh my goodness, everywhere we go, stuff get tore up. I need us to stop buying in to all the stereotypes about us. Are there some people that do wrong? Of course there are. Of course there are. And guess what? And all the other races too. So I need us to dismantle the lie that somehow my blackness is not good. That somehow my blackness needs approval. I reclaim my joy. I'm not a stereotype. Guess what? I'm a sign and a wonder. I don't shrink for systems, and I rise with purpose. My culture is divine and my rhythm is prophetic. Listen, we've got to stand up, because all of this will limit us from living our most abundant life. If our joy is limited, if we're shrinking every time we're in an environment, if we're embarrassed everywhere we go, we can never get to the fullness of God, what God really has for us. There is nothing wrong with being Black in America. Family, let me just say this. Let's not get this twisted. This isn't about culture. It's about spiritual warfare. Systems of oppression don't just target your bank account. They target your identity. And this is exactly what these things are trying to do. It doesn't matter that it was someone of color that says these things, or maybe that says things to you. Maybe even someone at your job or at your ministry that looks down at you. It's to attack who you are. It's to make you look down at yourself because of things you can't even control. Listen, you can't control the skin that you were born in. And there's nothing wrong with it. Systems of oppression, listen, I want to say it again. Don't just target your bank account. They target your identity. Because if you forget who you are, you'll never rise to who you were born to be. That's why the enemy works so hard. He works overtime to make us feel like a problem, because he knows it's actually power. There's power in our dance. There's power in our voice. There's power in our expressions of joy, our expressions of praise. The church was so powerful because of us. I want to say that the Black church, our power came because of our expressions, because of our determination to touch fire, to feel heaven. There's nothing wrong with us. All right. Let me bring it down a little bit. But I do want to say, really on a very serious note, that the word ghetto, it's a construct. It's a strategy. It's a label created to shame environments. It's a place that's only created in the mindset. Now you can say, oh, ghettos exist. Okay. Low income neighborhoods exist. But ghetto. Ah, when you hear that word, when you hear people describe a person or a place in that manner, it's not just low income, right? No, no, no. You know what they're saying. It's trashy. It's low. It's disrespectful. Whatever adjective you want to use. You understand what I'm saying. It's not a positive term. It's a label created for shame. Listen, one thing that as a people we've been good at is having joy in the midst of our survival. You know, I grew up in a lower income home too. Six of us, eight of us, right? With my parents, six kids, and plus my parents. And there were definitely times when we didn't have enough. But one thing we always had was joy. Listen, we always knew how to have a good time. We didn't have all the expensive toys. You know, this is before the internet and all that kind of stuff. We go outside and play. My dad found a basketball goal and nailed it to a tree that we had in the backyard. We had our own basketball court. We had imagination. We sang songs. We played games. We had joy. I probably was pretty close to grown before I realized that, you know what, we didn't have a whole lot. So stop allowing that label to define who we are. That is not who we are. Stop co-signing to cultural shame, whether it is called out by someone of another race or your own. We need to become bold enough that, especially when it's our own, that we call it out. Look, don't say that. You understand that there's a negative connotation to that. You understand that that is a sign, a emblem of shame. Challenge the inner critic in you that agrees with the oppressor. We are not broken, people of God. We are brilliant. Blackness is not a burden, it's a blessing. You don't need to prove your worth through proximity to any other race. You are already approved by heaven. So we have to be comfortable being around each other and not look for approval outside of who we are. Yeah. Yeah, I'm passionate about this because I understand the correlation with wealth and identity. I understand that if we don't know who we are, even if we get the wealth, even if you get the wealth, even if you get whatever it is that you desire, there will always be something in you that does not feel worthy. And that something will cause you to make choices and decisions that will self-sabotage your own prosperity, your own success. We've got to get okay with who we are. And we've got to be able to call out those who try to oppress us, whether they are of another persuasion or your own. We can't continue to allow this, this thing that is eating away at us slowly, this programming, because it's programming, to continue to beat us down every time we get up. You know, and I'm going to say this last thing. I remember growing up, I live in Houston. Vacations usually for us growing up meant going to Galveston, which was, less than an hour away. It was great. We had great times in Galveston. Don't get me wrong. But we didn't travel outside the state. And I don't even know if I knew what a cruise was growing up. Okay. So now having the ability to travel and seeing my brothers, my family travel extensively, I get great joy. And what I don't want is for us to be ashamed to be around others who are now moving into that arena, traveling more, moving about more. See, these type of things, um, this kind of language that is being used, even with this particular scenario with this cruise line, it's language that will limit some. They'll make a choice based on that because I don't want to be associated with that. So I'm not going to go. I'm not going to travel that way. If I see too many Black people, I'm just not going to go there. It's programming because there is power in us. And listen, there is power in unity. And we've got to stop allowing labels, programming, oppressors, whether internal or external, to keep us from seeing ourselves as who we really are. Beloved, we have nothing to be ashamed of. We were taught to hate our own reflection, our own sound, our own story. But the kingdom is rising. And guess what? The kingdom is rising in you. So next time someone says, y'all too loud, just smile and say, we're not loud, we're free. Look, go dancing, go sing, go live, because your joy is resistance. Your authenticity is warfare. And your Blackness, yes, it is. It's beautiful. Listen, thanks for joining me on today. I hope that this episode ignited some thinking, some thoughts. I hope you have some opinions. Maybe you don't agree with me. That's okay too. But I really want us to start thinking about this. I really want us to have a conversation. So you know what? I may have some guests that will join me in the next few episodes because I do think this is an important topic. So listen, I also want to remind you, we have an event coming up, the Kingdom Wealth Warrior Summit, October 11th, 2025 here in Houston, Texas. Another opportunity for us to get together and for us to be strengthened and empowered with strategies, with inspiration and edification so that we can get to our next level. So I want you to join us. Go to debhowardonline.com to get more information. I hope to see you there. Until next time, listen, you already know what I'm going to say. Go have your most abundant day. I will see you soon.